This program is part of American Graduate. Let's make it happen. A public media initiative made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
Bienvenidos a un programa más de la serie. Hoy en adelante nos unimos a PBS y MPTV en American Graduate. También la psicoterapeuta infantil bilingüe Paula Mytton habla sobre cómo los padres deben ejercer la disciplina de acuerdo a la edad del niño. Y la Comisión de Igualdad en el Trabajo representa y gana un caso de trabajadoras latinas víctimas de abuso sexual. Como parte de la serie de PBS American Graduate, en el reportaje a continuación abordamos el problema de los bajos niveles de graduación entre los estudiantes latinos. El profesor de la Universidad de Wisconsin-Milwaukee, Javier Tapia, revisa las raíces del problema y una joven nos comparte su historia.
What did John Cabot find instead? He didn't find a way to get to Asia, but what did he find?
Here in Bruce Guadalupe Middle School, students seem to enjoy the learning process and concentrate on their work. High school graduation rate for these students is 95 to 98%.
What we do is high school tracking. So once they graduate from Bruce Guadalupe at the 8th grade, we'll track them throughout their 4 years in high school and assist them with the college application process.
This school has high parent participation rate, and overall Latino students thrive and do good here, which is often the case for charter and Catholic schools.
Get our gingerbread to run away.
We don't want our gingerbread man to run away.
So if a Hispanic student made it past waiting lists or received a voucher to attend a Catholic school, he's considered lucky. He has more chances to graduate and go on to college. But what happens to the majority of Latino students in Wisconsin?
The graduation rate for white students is about 90% statewide. For Hispanics, statewide is 69%. And the graduation rate for Hispanics is lower in Milwaukee. The number is only 59%.
The picture is not very promising for the future workforce of our state. Furthermore, Professor Tapia estimates that only 10 out of 100 Hispanic students in MPS will graduate from high school to go on to college.
There are two major factors that explain the lower academic achievement of Hispanic students. Number one, on the average, the level of education of Hispanic parents is lower. Whitefish Bay, we had the parents with 65% with a college degree or higher, while it's only 5.2% in the Hispanic community. But what's more important are the ACT scores. These are the scores that tell us if the students are ready to be successful to do college level work.
I think the big mistake that happens is when people think that college readiness happens at junior year, and it's just way too late. Whether it's ACT, getting ready for those tests, it's really what happened way before that.
When we look at the differences from 4th grade to 8th grade and to the 10th grade, the achievement gap actually increases. The schools are not very accommodating to the specific cultural and linguistic needs of Hispanic students.
I work with people. I get to interact with them. Most importantly, I make them beautiful.
Madeline is a hairstylist and also manages 2 salons. She's a beautiful, smart, goal-oriented young woman and a mother to 2 children. Now, it's hard to believe that someone like Madeline would make a choice to drop out of high school, but she did.
I wish I would have been able to be a high school child or a teenager going to games and just worrying about school. I found a job maybe when I was like 15 or 16. I wanted to make some type of income versus just go to school. That was something in my household that was a little bit short from coming from a single mother. And I wanted to help or just know that I can provide a couple of things for myself. And I was focusing more on my job than school, and just said I can go back to school later on.
When the young kid find themselves in an environment that is not all that receptive, they begin to withdraw. And by the time they get to the high school, they see that it's going to be very difficult for them to graduate. We refer to this as the push-out rate, not as a high school dropout rate. So on the one hand, there's an economic need in the family. And on the other hand, you have an educational setting that is not very supportive.
The support of the culture is directly connected to parents' participation in their kids' education. A lot of times, new immigrants, besides having a language barrier, simply can't navigate school systems in the U.S. It turns out they don't know what is best for their children.
Mother, she just saw me working slowly. I was being taken away from my school. She was very upset, but at the same time, you know, she was glad that I was doing something which was working. She wasn't firm on it. And so along the way, she must have gave up, you know, and that's where I just, you know, continued to work and didn't finish high school.
Perhaps Madeline's mom would be able to help her daughter if she was persistent and firm. But a lot of times, the level of influence that Latino parents have on their children is defined by the outside factor.
When the parents have to talk to education authorities, social welfare authorities, or other authorities, they rely often on the children to provide the translation for them. And this is a role reversal with respect to authority.
Latino students from low-income families don't get the same head start as middle-class American students. They don't have generations of educated parents behind them, and their parents simply can't provide them with the same support and knowledge. Therefore, the role of the schools in urban, ethnically diverse districts is critical.
Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel ran a story about wasteful spending inside the district. $103 million per year. Money that could be better used. To me, it's very sad. Some of my students now are working in the public schools here in Milwaukee, and I get emails from them. They are worried. They have to put up their classrooms up for adoption. Milwaukee public school system does not provide a quality education to all students. There are some good schools there, but most of them are not doing a very good job. We have liked for the teachers union to have taken a more proactive role in looking for the well-being of the children. At the present moment, a teacher's salary is based how long they have been working and how many credit hours they have above a bachelor's degree. It is not based on the quality of the teacher. As such, we need to transform the whole education system, the way teachers are paid, so that we can recruit the most competent and the most hardworking educators to work in the most challenging schools.
The education reform ultimately will need to involve more than just schools. The entire community, government officials, college professors, nonprofit organizations, and everyone who is invested in the future of the minority students will have to step in and become a part of the process.
The demographic here in Milwaukee, which is our largest school district in the state, is very much reflective of what the future workforce in Wisconsin is going to look like. And we need to dramatically improve the success rates of that demographic.
Today, MPS and their partners Great Lakes Education found a new way to bring college in perspective for students in South Division High School.
You just found out that Great Lakes is giving everyone in the room $12,000. So let's give it up for Great Lakes!
Students learned that they are all eligible for a significant investment in them. That is $12,000 of college scholarship money if they graduate on time, maintain at least a 2.5 GPA and maintain at least a 90% attendance rate overall. Team Up College Access and College Access Starts Now is part of a larger initiative in Milwaukee Public Schools to get students and families thinking as early as elementary school about their futures and about the importance of college and getting ready for it.
Giving rise to the expectation that they can go to college, that they can succeed, is really one of the critical elements of these kinds of interventions. Once they now can expect that college is a possibility for them, the likelihood of success is that much higher.
If Madeline was given the same chance as some students today in South Division High School, maybe she would take that chance and use it. Maybe she wouldn't have to take a long way around to reach her goals.
Once you're 20 and you do want a more decent pay, definitely the first thing that is on there is, do you have your GED or high school diploma? And once I had my son, then I really found myself in a more difficult situation because the jobs and the income that I was used to was not going to be enough. I had to sit down and brainstorm what was I going to do. That's where I came about this career. You could go to school as an apprenticeship, and I also was going for my GED at METC. It took up a lot of my time, but still I was able to manage and do that.
And she wants her children to do even better.
They're 8 years old, and I have another daughter who's 5, and I'm constantly talking about college with them. So they already know that that's something that is in their future, that they have to do. There is no other way, you know?
En adelante continuaremos informándoles en estas series de American Graduate sobre los problemas que impiden que un número mayor de latinos se gradúen, y en el siguiente de la serie estaremos revisando las posibles soluciones a este problema. Paula Mytton es una psicoterapeuta bilingüe que trabaja para Aurora Family Service y se especializa en atención infantil. En este primer encuentro, ella nos habla sobre la disciplina y cómo los padres deben ejercerla correctamente y de acuerdo a la edad del niño. Paula, gracias por estar con nosotros en Adelante.
Con mucho gusto, un placer.
Paula, queríamos platicar contigo sobre cuál es la diferencia entre disciplina, educación y castigo. Generalmente cuando los padres no tienen una formación, decimos que nuestros niños no vienen con un instructivo, ¿verdad? Puede haber una confusión, puede haber un problema para establecer los límites en los niños.
Bueno, la disciplina es educar, y cuando estamos educando a los niños, los educamos para lo que les va a pasar en el futuro. El castigo es algo coercitivo. Decimos que no se puede hacer algo, la persona castiga, pero no estamos enseñando. Entonces el niño no está teniendo un desarrollo moral apropiado porque él no está aprendiendo del castigo. Una vez que la figura que castiga desaparece, el niño vuelve a cometer esta actitud que no queremos que repita. En cambio, con la disciplina educas, enseñas, es algo que el niño va adquiriendo y va aprendiendo y luego lo va internalizando. Por lo tanto, cuando los padres no están ahí, él sabe que hay ciertas normas que debe cumplir. Con la disciplina estamos enseñando reglas, estamos enseñando consecuencias, lo que va a ocurrir cuando realizas una acción que no esperamos de ti.
¿Cuáles son los límites? ¿Y qué es esto cuando nos dicen hay que ponerle límites a los niños? Hay que ponerles un hasta aquí a los niños. Ese niño está siendo malcriado. ¿Hay formas de malcriar a un niño? ¿O hay niveles de querer a un niño? ¿Se le tiene que querer menos? Generalmente hay una confusión en la comunidad latina histórica en ese aspecto. Si lo quieres mucho, lo echas a perder.
Creo que es muy importante remarcar ese punto con nuestra comunidad. Creo que a veces excedemos en la permisividad. El amor puede ser infinito. Creo que los padres deben tener una fuente inagotable de amor para sus hijos. Siempre debe estar ahí. Es un pozo.
Nunca te dejo de querer.
Nunca te dejo de
aunque
querer.
te comportes mal.
Exactamente. Eso debe ser incondicional. Pero los límites a la vez son muy importantes. Debemos enseñar al niño hasta dónde puedes llegar, hasta dónde te dejo hacer. Y se confunde mucho que con esto de que estamos en la era de la psicología y le damos mucha importancia a los niños, básicamente se deja hacer mucho a los niños. Y cuando dejamos que los niños hagan lo que ellos quieren, estamos haciendo un niño tirano. Hay muchos estudios que demuestran que últimamente con esta infinita flexibilidad de los padres, los niños se transforman en pequeños tiranos donde ellos siempre quieren hacer lo que ellos quieren cuando ellos quieren. Y por eso es muy apropiado poner límites. Y debemos enseñar desde que un niño está recién nacido. Se debe comenzar a decir a qué horas debe dormir, a qué horas come, qué disciplinas va a tener. Los padres deben tener esas conversaciones, incluso desde que antes el niño que llegue a la casa, para que entonces ellos puedan tener un acuerdo. ¿Cómo lo van a hacer?
Pero dime una cosa, la pregunta era, ¿hay una solución para esta dificultad de los padres? ¿De qué manera los padres pueden encontrar sustento a la manera en que ellos actúan? Porque tú lo mencionaste hace un momento, ser el ejemplo, sin decirle ninguna orden al niño, ni ponerle ningún límite. En el momento en que el padre está actuando, comiendo, dirigiéndose a la madre, resolviendo sus problemas personales, los hijos están aprendiendo.
Exactamente.
Entonces es un reto universal, como tú lo mencionaste. Pero ¿por dónde empezar? ¿Dónde hay un humilde inicio en el que los padres digan, sí, yo quiero hacer de mi hijo una persona segura de sí misma, una persona con un futuro maravilloso, como el que yo hubiera querido para mí?
Creo que es comenzar a examinar qué es lo que está pasando, cuáles son los momentos que mi hijo disfruta conmigo, cuando el niño no se comporta bien y por qué lo hace. Creo que debe estar ese proceso de insight, de reconocer qué es lo que yo como adulto estoy haciendo que fomenta ciertos comportamientos en mi hijo, que hacen que mi hijo no se comporte de la manera que yo espero.
Paula, ¿hay algún lugar a donde los padres pueden ir a obtener educación en el internet o en cursos en la comunidad o en terapia de familia?
Absolutamente. Internet, un gran recurso para todos. La Clínica 16 en el South Side de la ciudad tiene clases para padres y también ahí hay acceso a terapia y hay terapeutas familiares que pueden ayudar. También en Aurora Family Service existen terapeutas bilingües que se dedican a hacer terapia de familias. Generalmente las personas tienen home visitors que van a sus casas regularmente o padres como maestros que visitan casas. Es muy bueno que los padres se abran y conversen con estas personas de las dificultades que ellos tienen, porque se está tratando de ayudar y proveer a todas estas personas que están en programas más abiertos en la comunidad, dar el tema de salud mental y cómo ellos pueden también ayudarlos con las dificultades diarias que ellos tienen.
¿Algún número de teléfono, algún lugar preferido de ti en el website que la gente pueda acudir y aprender y prepararse y hacer una educación preventiva?
Para las personas que tienen bebés recién nacidos, el sitio website de Wisconsin Infant Mental Health, solamente Google el nombre y está ahí, tienen recursos en español y en inglés que son bastante buenos, fáciles de leer.
Y pueden comunicarse también a la Clínica 16 o a Aurora Family Service.
Exactamente. Y también, generalmente, si ellos tienen preguntas, es muy bueno que conversen con sus pediatras. Generalmente los pediatras son los que pueden dar los referidos para que los niños puedan acceder a algún tipo de terapia familiar o terapia individual o terapia de juego.
Pues Paula, te agradecemos muchísimo por estos consejos tuyos y estas direcciones para que los padres puedan dirigirse a ellos.
Con mucho gusto.
Gracias. $1,5 millones se ha pagado por un caso de trabajadoras víctimas de abuso sexual. Estas han recibido visas para quedarse legalmente en este país en un caso representado por la EEOC, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. El abogado a cargo del caso, Dennis McBride, está con nosotros. Attorney McBride, thanks for being with us on Adelante.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
Attorney McBride, can you tell us what was this case about on the relation with the Iowa victims?
Well, I got a call one day from a woman in Iowa who works with domestic abuse victims. She's from Spain originally, and she speaks Spanish, and she works with immigrant workers. And she told me about a disturbing pattern of sexual abuse, including rape, of workers at a particular egg processing facility in north central Iowa. And we found out about it, we obtained some more information, and we filed papers in court within a week and obtained what's called a preliminary injunction to stop it, and also to put in place a requirement that the company explain in Spanish to the workers what their rights are. We drafted the documents and we produced them and said, you must give these to the workers. The court imposed that. Then the case went on, and ultimately we obtained a settlement of over $1.5 million for 11 victims. 11 victims.
Right. How can be explained that these things are happening in the United States? Are the undocumented status of these workers the main reason that they become victims and they keep quiet?
Right. I think the main reason is that many of these workers are undocumented. As you know better than I do, all over the United States in agricultural communities, we have undocumented workers. These people are very vulnerable to abuse because they're concerned about being sent back to their home country. And they're here for a reason. They're here to earn a living and to raise their children the way we all want to. But we have a thing called the power and control wheel for immigrant women that explains some of this. Sometimes it's emotional abuse, economic abuse, sexual abuse, using children, threatening to take their children away, threats to report them to the immigration authorities, intimidation and isolation. In a lot of these agricultural surroundings, people are out in vineyards, they're out in orchards, they're out in the middle of a 600-acre farm. They can be very isolated. In the case that I dealt with, women were moved from plant to plant, and the supervisors would put the woman in a truck and rape them in the truck on the way from one plant to the other. They'd stop off the side of the road and they'd rape them.
In this case, how long these violations were happening?
I'd say probably a couple of years.
It was a long time.
It was a long time.
And what is the situation now with this case? What is the meaning of the success, the legal success that this case went through?
Well, as I said, we obtained over $1.5 million. Most of that money went to the women themselves. Some of the money went to the Iowa Coalition Against Domestic Violence, which had brought us the case. And we wanted to make sure that these women, other women, were not subjected to the same kind of abuse. The EEOC cares about the actual victims, but what we're doing mostly is trying to prevent further abuse from happening, further discrimination. So this group was very good about reaching out to immigrant communities and doing that. So that was important. We also established the requirement that the company have policies in Spanish as well as English so that the workers could understand them. We also did something which had never been done before. We took advantage of a new program created by Congress called the U Visa program. We didn't even have any documents at that point. The immigration people in Washington hadn't created the documents. I had to write the documents, which were applications for U visas. My boss, who was the regional attorney, signed the documents as the prosecutor, and we submitted them to Washington. We obtained U visas, green cards, for 6 of the 11 women. The other women went back home. The 6 who wanted to stay all became documented workers rather than undocumented workers. It was the first time that the U visa program had ever been used.
Well, that's just wonderful for people to know that it's not just that they will be defending themselves, but they will not be deported to their country after justice is made.
It's very, very important for your listeners to understand that, first of all, the government will not deport you if you're the victim of certain crimes. And number 1 on the list is rape. Number 2 is sexual assault. And there are other crimes that you can be kept in the country for as a witness or a victim so that you won't be deported. The second thing is discrimination is discrimination. If it happens to me as a natural-born citizen of the United States, it's no different from somebody else who is here as an undocumented worker. We will protect undocumented workers as much as documented workers. That is our job.
Attorney McBride, we congratulate you, and we are grateful that you are here today.
Thank you.
Y al final de un programa más de Adelante, por favor déjenos saber sus comentarios en nuestro teléfono 297-7544 o escríbanos a nuestra dirección de correo electrónico en adelante@matc.edu y visítenos en nuestro sitio del internet en mptv.org y en Facebook. Sintonícenos en Milwaukee Public Television, canales 10.1 y 36.2 todos los martes a las 6:30 de la tarde y en canal 36.1 los miércoles a las 12:30 de la medianoche y los domingos a las 5:30 de la tarde. En Wisconsin Public Television, WPT 38.2 los martes a las 6 de la tarde y los jueves a la 1 de la mañana. Y en MPTV FM 10.3 los viernes a las 6:30 de la tarde y los domingos a las 6:30 de la mañana. Soy Patricia Gomez. Gracias por acompañarnos.